Alright, everybody, what's going on? Welcome to episode 4 of the Fatman Gaming Podcast. We had recorded an entire episode and found out that audio didn't work and video capture was broken, and it was just a freaking god awful mess. So here we are doing take 2, the second round, the better round, and I'm your host as always. I am Drake12, aka the Fat Man at the Fatman Gaming Gaming. And then to my side over here is my co-host Zio. So Zio, say what's up to the people.
What's up?
All right. So today we're going to be doing a. We're going to be doing. We didn't have a theme for this podcast, so we're going to be doing something a little bit different. We're going to be giving you guys our top 10 games list of all time for us, according to us. We know you guys probably aren't going to like it, but that's our list. You have your own list. Leave us your list in the comments and all that. Let us know what you like. Let us know how our list compared to you, and then we'll address that again at the end. Also, we're doing that PS2 giveaway. Zio had a good idea of first person to leave us the best list that we like, according to you, is going to win that. So leave us a list, your top 10 games. We're going to rank them, and then we're going to pick the person that had the best list, and then that will be the winner. We'll do that on the hopefully by the next podcast. So next Friday, Saturday-ish, then we'll see if we've had one by then. If not, then we'll figure it out from there. Um, so let's just get right into it. We had some new stuff on the last episode that we had recorded, but we're not going to get into it because it's not that important. So we're gonna fire off one game at a time. Um, Give a little brief description on it, or express our love for it, and then we'll move on from there until the list is complete. So we're gonna let Zio start off, um, and then let me put my phone on silent so you guys aren't hearing constant updates and stuff. Um, we're gonna let Zio go first, and then I'll go, and then we'll take turns after that, and then I hope you guys enjoy our list. All right, Zio, fire off. Game
All
number
right, so
10.
number 10 for me is Minecraft, and I don't really think any explanation is necessary. Most people know what this game is, the popularity behind it.
Right.
It
Yeah.
doesn't really need much more than that.
No. Uh, it doesn't. Everybody at this point knows what Minecraft is. It's the number one selling game of all time. Always in the top 10. Every platform has it. It's yeah, and it's always fun to go back to. It's kind of surreal, or what do they call it, serene, or whatever they call it. Because you go in there and you can just relax, just build yourself a kingdom or whatever it is that you're doing, and just kind of relax. It's a super peaceful game, especially with the music. Um, Yeah, I was playing Minecraft Dungeons last night, and again, like Minecraft has all these spin-off games that are always so good. You got story mode, dungeons. They got that other one that's coming up. I forgot what it's called. Um, but yeah, so Minecraft, that's a good number 10 for sure. Um, and you guys should check out Minecraft Dungeons. That game's super underrated. That's a good ass game. I played it last night. I streamed it on the channel for a bit, testing out some stuff, and yeah, it's a really good game. Uh, my number ten. My number 10 is Titanfall 2. Titanfall in Titanfall 2, they did some stuff um, in FPSs that we hadn't seen in a while. Uh, as many know, Titanfall 1 was multiplayer only, and revolutionary because it was like it had the gameplay mechanics, they had the parkour mechanics, they had the mech system, and then in 2 they brought that all over, added a story, added added a bunch more, and it was just like it's just an incredible game. Multiplayer was always top notch. The only thing that I didn't like about Titanfall 2 was that the Titans were a little too squishy. You never really felt like you were um, like almost invincible like you did in 1. But they did have more classes of Titan, and and let's just say I forgot the model of Titan, but the heavy duty one is always the best. And then you had Ronin. Ronin was second best. So yeah, number 10 for me is definitely Titanfall 2. Um, all right, moving on.
Yeah, number 9 for me is WWE SmackDown versus Raw 2011.
Nice.
For me, that was the first wrestling game I was introduced to. Um, and the create a character, the story mode, you know, just it was a perfect wrestling game in my opinion. It's only gone downhill really from there, I would say, in terms of just WWE's gaming product.
Yeah, it's kind of a shame that they went away from the SmackDown or SmackDown versus Raw era of game and got into the 2K series. To me, 2K never really has a good product. It's always just kind of it's too. How do I say it's too? I don't know. It's just not good. Most wrestling fans prefer the we call it the No Mercy style of wrestling. Um, those games were just they were more arcadey, but they had the realism, and then yeah, it's definitely missed. And SmackDown versus Raw, the entire series, and I remember 2011 having some of the best creator content. But yeah, it's like those games were always so good, and to create your own wrestler portions of them was that. And then
Yeah, the
like I
issue with
said
the
in the
2K series is the fact that they're like Call of Duty. They release one every year.
yeah yeah and like I said in the episode that got messed up was that uh in 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 the original SmackDown vs. Raw series, I had created my character was always called the Demon. This was years before Finn Balor. So, like I said before, I'm coming after Finn because I'm suing him for rights for that name. So, um, yeah, no, great pick for number 9. So moving on to number 8. So my number 8 is Super Mario World. Um, Super Mario World was my first Mario game. I didn't have an NES when I was younger. I always had my friends, but none of them ever had the Mario Bros. They always had like Marble Madness or just something off, like or I think one of my friends had Duck Hunt, but it didn't have the Mario combo. Um, Super Mario World introduced me to Mario. It was my first Super Nintendo game. It came with my console, and um, it was amazing because it's like the graphics on it were like at that time you were like blown away. It introduced you to Yoshi, and then it introduced you to the Koopa kids, and then Bowser for the first time. He wasn't named Koopa no more. King Koopa was Bowser now, and um, you had like your own little story in there, and there were so many shortcuts. There were so many ways to get to Bowser that so many secrets is like you could literally beat that game in 5 minutes if you knew the right track. And then the fire flowers and the cape being one of the most iconic things from that game. Um, but yeah, no, it was such a great game, and then at certain points it got difficult. There was actually some like really difficult levels too on there as a kid. Now I can ace them, but yeah, back then Super Mario World was the shit for me. So yeah, number 8 was Super Mario World for me.
Yeah. Number 8 for me is Xenoverse 2.
Yeah,
We've talked about this game in our last episode in our Dragon Ball games list, so not much really need to say. If you need to know more, you can check out that episode. Um, for me, it's just even today they keep it up to date with the series itself. and they keep adding new and new content. To create a character on it is one of the better ones. From It's like the first time we've actually had to create a character in any Dragon Ball game, and the game mechanics itself were just really good.
yeah, no, no. And if those that don't know, Xenoverse 2 is Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2. Um, um, just for those that don't know, I'm sure everybody knows, but just throwing it out there. But yeah, no, Xenoverse 2. I never really got to get into it. I did play for a little bit, and I liked how many characters there were. The storyline was really good, but really confusing. I did like the whole Xeno time cop thing. Uh, and then, like you said, the in the episode before got scrapped, or even in the last podcast when they brought Ultra Instinct Goku, and it just kind of like broke the game because Homeboy is just too powerful. Like you don't even have to touch the controller, and he just blocks stuff on his own. So, but yeah, no, Xenoverse 2 is like it has to be up there with one of the best Dragon Ball games of all time for sure. Um, that's a great pick though. Uh, Number 7 for me is Smash Bros. Ultimate. I mean, not really much can be said about Smash Bros. That people don't already know. It is probably one of the best fighting games of all time, if not. I mean, you've got the Nintendo characters, and then you've got characters from other franchises outside of Nintendo that you would have never thought would have been inside of a. Just you would have never thought. Period. Um, for me, Smash Bros. Ultimate became one of my favorite games of all time, simply just because of it existing. But then when they announced Cloud in Final Fantasy VII, who is the most iconic character of all time for me in a game, and when they announced him, I was just like, "Whoa, this is it," you know. And then they announced his amiibo, and I have his amiibo here, and I had to get it, and it's like, it was just for me, it solidified itself as greatest today. I mean, I'm sure they'll end up eventually doing another Smash, and hopefully they bring these guys over and then just add to the roster. But we'll see. But the one that did it for me too was that there was two more when they announced Sephiroth, and I was like, whoa, two Final Fantasy VII characters? There's just no way, and it's the two most iconic characters. Um, and then of course when they ended it with the final character of it being Sora, I was like, this is it. Like for Nintendo to pull off a Disney character, which Sora is technically, it was something else. So Smash Bros. For me definitely solidified itself in my list after all the amazing work that they had done and all the iconic icons that they brought in. So for me, yeah, it was number 7 was
They still
definitely
need,
Smash Bros.
yeah, they still need to add Waluigi to that.
Yeah, yeah, and then like Zio said, free Waluigi, get him in there in the next one. He's got to be in there. And then of course, if there is one character that deserves a spot in Smash Bros, and he has such a deep history with Nintendo because that's where he started. Uh, Chrono from Chrono Trigger needs to be in Smash Bros. I will say it till the day I die, and if he's not in there eventually, Smash Bros gets removed off my list. All
Number
right.
7 for me is Dead Rising 2, a game franchise that I think gets overlooked in terms of apocalyptic games.
Yeah, yeah. Dead Rising 2 is definitely a great game. I myself have only seen mostly gameplays. I've played it for a few minutes here and there. I played Dead Rising 1 a little bit. I played Dead Rising 2 a little bit. I never really got into the current ones. I think there's two, maybe one or two current ones. And for me, I think it's because excuse me. I think it's because Dead Rising 2 is considered more of a goofy apocalyptic style game, or and most people like they want like a Resident Evil, but I do think that there's a place for games like Dead Rising. So, but yeah, no, Dead Rising 2 definitely a good pick. What was like some of your favorite things about that game?
The weapon customizations, combining of the different weapons and even combining them to some vehicles. You had the Mega Man outfit. You could even make a lightsaber just by grabbing some diamonds from a jewelry store and a flashlight. And
is
some of the
that
weapons
what the
were
combo
really
is?
OP. Yeah, you just
Oh
go into a
jeez.
jewelry store, find some gems on the ground, put it on a flashlight, and you have yourself a lightsaber.
Nice.
Yeah, you
That's
had some
yeah.
really weird combos. You had the typical IEDs. You could it. You had the basic combos, and then you had the really weird ones that made you question. You know, how is this even working?
Right. Um. Let's see. Yeah, I know. Left 4 Dead definitely. I need to go back and redo that myself because like you said, it's super underrated. So um, yeah, I need to go get that a shot. Let's see. What number are we on now?
We are on number 6.
Number 6. Is that me 6 or I'm losing
You
track
are
here?
7. You're still on
Okay, yeah.
7. Yeah.
No, 7 was Smash Bros. Okay, so I'm on number 6. Okay, sorry about that confusion. I need to keep better track of this. Let's see. Okay, we're on number 6. Okay, number 6 for me. I had gone over the list that we had done originally, and I kind of reworked it and realized that I had some games on there that I didn't think I should have put on the list. So then I went and altered my list. So this was one of the alterations. So for me, number 6 is Mega Man X. Um, and then when I thought about it, I was like, no, I have to put this game on there because it is one of the one of the most iconic games for me. And I do love the original Mega Man, but X just does everything better. I think you had the wall climb, you had the dash right out the gate. X just looks cooler for some reason. Mega Man for me always looked like a little dwarf with a big head. And no offense to anybody, it's the best way that I can describe it. But it was just Mega Man X, the story of him being this gentle robot that has all this ultimate weaponry on him, and he doesn't want to fight. Just always kind of like was always cool. It's pretty much like this poor guy was like a he had no option. He had to go and do this because you ultimately him and Zero were the only ones that could. Uh, but yeah, so it was great because of the weapon upgrades, the armor pieces that you could get, and then just making X look even more badass. And then of course in Mega Man X1 there was the iconic Hadouken that you could pick up later on as a secret, and it was a one hit KO to pretty much anything it touched. But the Mega Man X series just had so much between X and Zero. Uh, I love X, but Zero ultimately is my favorite character in that game. I have a bunch of Zero stuff here. Um, so yeah, Mega Man X was definitely my number 6, and the music just alone on the music is just so freaking good in that game. So yeah, number 6 for me was definitely Mega Man X.
Yeah, and number 6 for me is Mortal Kombat versus DC Universe. And this was the first Mortal Kombat game I ever played, and I really enjoyed it. The gameplay was phenomenal, and so was the story. Especially seeing as how you can have Batman break his moral code of no killing with the fatalities.
Right. Yeah, no, it was weird seeing Lord Raiden and Joker on the same battlefield, or having somebody like a Scorpion in the Flash. Um, but yeah, no, that was a good game. I think that one is super underrated. I know it's one of the lesser talked in the franchise for Mortal Kombat, and most people know that like because of that game, Injustice was born. And Injustice being like the best DC game besides the Arkham series, out there because for some reason DC just can't get their shit together and make good stuff without the help of others. Um, and I don't know, you got so many iconic characters in the DC universe too, minus Superman. No offense to you, Superman fans. The reason why I can't stand Superman is this: he's plain white bread. He's vanilla ice cream. He, how is it that you can have this guy who's invincible? He cannot be touched, and he's boring. It's okay. So we got Tony Stark and Batman, right? Two different franchises, two different Marvel, DC. Tony Stark and Batman are rich, but they're regular guys. They can freaking die. They can be killed. Superman can't be killed ultimately. You just have a little green rock or a little green bullet. And for me, it's just like, I don't know. I can't stand Superman. I can't stand it. Whenever I think of Superman or I see that stupid uniform, it just ticks me off. And I hate Superman. And Goku would beat the shit out of Superman, and everybody knows it. So there. Kamehameha to the face. Freaking Kefla style. End of story. Superman done. Superman, suck it. Anyway, sorry I went off on that rant. I can't stand Superman. But no, DC
Yeah,
versus... DC and
they
Mortal
talk about
Kombat.
that. They talk about Goku and Superman fighting. Most people claim that Goku's stupid and that he would want to fight his opponent at the best, but the moment, you got those two in a fight together, depending on who's the bad guy, would just depend, and would just, either way, Goku would pretty much win it at his current power level.
Yeah.
With the Ultra Instinct. Like before, yes, it was questionable on who would outlast the other, but with Goku having this godly power now, even people have been wanting Death Battle themselves to make a third Goku v Superman and actually do it properly this time, like a remake of the last two. But they won't do it because they know now that Goku would beat him, and they're biased towards Superman.
Well, yeah, everybody tries to make Soups the winner in that battle, and sorry we're going off topic, guys, but this is an important topic for me at least because I am, and let's get something straight here too. I am not a fan of Goku. I do love the Dragon Ball series and all that, but my guy in Dragon Ball is Vegeta. Vegeta is the goat. He's the he's the one that holds it all together because while Goku is always instigating trouble and always getting everyone into trouble, Vegeta's always there to be like, you're an idiot. So, and they always do Vegeta dirty. He goes in there, gets this big, massive upgrade, and he gets his ass kicked in like 3 seconds. And that's just wrong. Toriyama, Toyotaro, get that shit right. Get my man his due. He has to be the one to put down Frieza in the end. Um, but yeah, so it's different because on the scales of power, they really don't tell you the scales of power. We know Goku's scale of power. We know where he's at uh, right now, but they don't give you Superman's scale of power. There's no way to scale his power. But in my opinion, if you do a little bit of research on both sides, you got to think Goku comes out on top of that one because Superman. I mean, Superman. Even though Goku wouldn't use it, all Goku got to do is find that green rock, stick it up Superman's butt, and the Kamehameha in the face, and it's over. Superman done. And that's where we'll leave
Or
it.
even, even teleport him to, like, because if I remember correctly, didn't King Kai's planet have, like, a few red suns?
I'm not sure, but I don't remember. But yeah, isn't the red
I don't
sun
know
the
if
one
that
that you
was just
can't
a guess.
take?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would just freaking instant transmission him into the red sun of the Kamehameha to the face. Fuck Superman. So, anyways, sorry we went off on that rant, but yeah, Superman can suck it. I know we don't cuss very often here, but when Superman gets brought up, it boils my blood. I can't stand that guy. So, yeah, Marvel versus DC versus Mortal Kombat was definitely a good game, especially because I love the voice acting in that game. I don't remember, was Mark Hamill Joker in that one? Or did they not able to get him? I don't think he was, huh?
I don't know.
I don't think he
I don't
was.
remember.
I do know that Batman voice was the original Batman. I believe I'm probably wrong on that one, but um, yeah, no, that was definitely a good game. Um, it was just fun seeing them all interact together like that. Hold on, let me mute 1 second. Hang on, I'll be right back. Go ahead and talk for a few seconds. I gotta go do something.
Alright, so while he's gone, I will list off my honorable mentions and go into a little bit of details about them. So number 5 for me is Black Ops 4. Black Ops 4 is what got me back into the Call of Duty franchise after I took a break from it after Black Ops 2. I didn't really like the futuristic stuff. I was more and always will be a boots on the ground type of guy.
Oh yeah, nice. Yeah, I forgot about our
Yeah.
honorable mentions. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, and it just, without the story mode, it was just an okay game.
Right. Go ahead, do your whole list.
All right, and then number 4 is new Super Mario Bros. For the Nintendo Wii. It was a good game. The new characters, the fact that you can on the Wii, you were able to play with all 4 characters. You had Mario, Luigi, and then you had the Toads. Then we got Mortal Kombat 9 for number 3. Not really much to say. It was just I really liked playing the Mortal Kombat series after that. Then we got for number 2 we got the Uncharted series of games. Me personally, I started with Uncharted 4, Thieves End, and that's what really drew me to the game.
Right.
And then for number 1 we got Deadpool.
Oh, yeah, the Deadpool game, Nolan North. Man, what a freaking game. That game was just. It was. I think I laughed at 90% of that game. Nolan North did such a freaking great job voicing Deadpool, and the whole buddy cop thing with him and Wolverine was funny. Especially
Yeah,
that scene that we had talked about last night of him slapping the crap out of Wolverine trying to wake him up. So
yeah.
yeah, so no, that yeah, definitely a great game. So, did they ever do a Deadpool 2?
No,
Or
they
was it?
didn't.
Oh, damn, that's one they should definitely go back. If I'm Marvel and and if I'm Marvel, I'm definitely going in and contacting Nolan North and getting a Deadpool 2 made. Disney, get on that. It has to be Nolan North, no one else. I don't. No, can't do Ryan Reynolds' voice. It has to be Nolan North. Yeah, that was a great honorable mention list. So for me, again, like I said, because of the episode that got messed up last night, I went ahead and redid my honorable mention list too. So for me, my honorable mentions are at number, the first one being Mickey's Magical Quest for the Super Nintendo. Now, most people modern now don't know about this game, but this for me hit at a time where, and this game was hard. This game definitely had its difficulty up there. But it was a game where you're a Mickey Mouse, you're playing with Donald, Goofy, and all of them at a park, and you throw the ball, and Pluto goes after it, and he ends up going missing. Uh, he ends up being kidnapped at the end by Pete, who's the emperor of this town that you, or this place you go into, and you go through different levels of ones in the beanstalks. You got one that you're in climbing mountains. You got an ice world. You got the fire world. But the thing about this game was it introduced you into like there's also a forest level where um, you change your outfits and stuff. You change your outfits. So the first level, you're just standard Mickey, regular Mickey. You can jump, you can grab things and throw them. Level 2, you become the wizard and you shoot magic out of your fingers. Level 3 is the fire level, and you become the firefighter Mickey. You get a hose and you pump water out, and it's funny. And then the next transformation is the rock climber Mickey, where you get a hook. I call it the hook shot, and you can climb rocks and stuff like that. But yeah, it was definitely a good game. The story on it was pretty good. Difficulty, it was up there in difficulty. One of Capcom's best forgotten games. Um, But it was definitely a game. And if any of you have a chance or an emulator or can find it physically for the Super Nintendo, it's one that I recommend even today. One of Capcom's best games that they put out back in the 90s. um, next would be next for me would be Fantasy Star. The oh shoot, what's it called? Fantasy Star Till the End of Time. The reason why it didn't make my list is because it just I don't know. It just didn't make my list because it brings back good memories, but it just wasn't list worthy for me. And I do love this game. It was weird because uh, it fell into a time. It was I think for me it was my first action RPG. It was a great game. The story on I can't get over the story on it because it was just so perfect. It was you were this hero Fate, and you're in there, and you're in this like high tech space world, and all of a sudden you crash down on this planet, and it's like medieval times. You're trying to figure out how to rescue your buddy, and you're trying to figure out how to get basically just trying to figure out how to get out, survive, and all this stuff. Ultimately, you figure out that you're basically a video game or a sim, and people outside are controlling you, and then you eventually break out of the sim and you confront what they call the gods, and then you meet the creator, the god himself, and then you gotta take him down. So yeah, that was my honorable mention. Goat. Um, let's see. The next one for me was Resident Evil 3 remake. Resident Evil 3 remake for me was really good. I actually enjoyed it more than the original, minus a couple of things. They did take out a whole portion of the game, which was kind of annoying. But I did like the redesign of Nemesis in that. Jill, I liked her new outfit. I thought represented her better because in the original you were Jill Valentine and you were in this mini skirt, and it's like there's no way, there's no way she's gonna survive a city crawling with zombies, this giant 6 foot monster chasing her in a mini skirt. Come on, let's get a little serious on that. I did like the retelling that they did of the story. I liked Carlos better in this one. Um, but that was my another one of my honorable mentions because Resident Evil 3 remake it for me was a lot better than the original. And then we had what was it? Let's see. It was Devil May Cry, but not the original Devil May Cry. DMC, their reboot that they had done. For me, that game was just really cool. I liked what they had done to Dante. I liked that he hadn't fully come into his demon stuff yet. I liked what they did with Virgil. The story was really good. I liked the combo system. It felt like Devil May Cry, but they had kind of updated the story. I thought we were going to get a second one for that, and I really hope that they do go back and visit it, even though I don't think they will now. But for me, DMC Devil May Cry was another honorable mention because I liked the whole reboot of that franchise. I even liked the new Dante better than the old one, so that was a banger for me. And then the last one was let's see, the last one was The Matrix: Path of Neo. So there was a lot of Matrix games out at the time. This one came out for the OG Xbox. This is where I had it. It came out for the other consoles at the time too, so PS2 and all that. But for me, it just felt right on Xbox. Xbox being green, and then the Matrix being green and all that. And I think the Xbox version had some stuff on it that the other versions didn't have. But that story made you feel like Neo because of the combo system, and ultimately, if you could pull off the best combo, you were just godly. And that game is super underrated. A lot of people don't talk about it, but that game uh, did the Matrix, I think, the best justice on gaming. Um, and I kind of hope that they do something more like that in the future because we did get that Unreal Engine 5 Matrix demo. That was pretty cool. I mean, yeah, you just walk around the city, drive around the city, and you really don't do anything much than that. that it was amazing to see like the potential of maybe a new Path of Neo style game in that beautiful graphics. So yeah, those were our honorable mentions. So um, now we're going to get back into the list, and I think we're at number 5, correct?
Yep.
So number 5 for me is let me see. I work this list. Um, okay. So number 5 for me was it's an iconic game for me. It gave me a lot of. It was the reason, one of the reasons why I bought a PS4. For me, it just it hit on a whole different level because I had never experienced like joy like this in a game, and it was so exciting to see some of the things that was going on. And for me, that game is Uncharted 4, Thief's End. Um, the gameplay, Nolan North's performance is Drake or Nate. The performance for Sully, the performance for Sam, it's all there. It's like it was like you don't get acting better than that almost. That was like the perfect game. But Uncharted, uh, for me, it hit on different levels. It was because of like not only just graphics and how beautiful it was, but it was because the for me like the QTE's like part. It was like it was literally playing a movie, and a lot of games are like that now. But for some reason, just Uncharted did it right. And it was especially during the car chase scene where it's you and Sam, you're on the bike, and then you're on the Jeep, and it's just like that was still one of the best scenes in a video game for me, even though it was QTE and a lot of people don't like those. But it was just you just don't get it any better than that. It was just so damn good. And then actually, the Uncharted 4 was the first game that I would ever played in the franchise. So after that, I went back and I played the other ones, and they were all just as great. I own all of them physically, um, and yeah. So Uncharted 4 Thief's End is my number 5, and I'm gonna throw this out there because a lot of people like to compare them to Tomb Raider and all that. Tomb Raider can't hold a candle to Uncharted. Uncharted just does everything Tomb Raider does and makes it better. Tomb Raider tried to get too serious, moody, broody, and it just doesn't work. Lara Croft is an iconic character, yeah, I'll give her that. And I do like the way they portray her, but there's just something about Nathan Drake that just overshadows her, and I don't think Tomb Raider will ever be as good as Uncharted, even though Tomb Raider did it first, but Uncharted just did everything that they did and made it better. So that's my number 5.
Yeah, number 5 for me is Mario Strikers for the Nintendo GameCube.
Yeah,
That was really the first Mario game I played on a Nintendo console, and I'm not really much of a fan of sports games, but Mario Strikers was just one of the ones that I gave an exception to because of the fact of the mechanics in the game. You got the super strikes, you time
yeah,
them right, and you do a little special move. You had the whole character list. You even had Waluigi, something Smash Bros. Still hasn't done. I
yeah.
don't know
Get on it,
how.
Smash.
But yeah, Mario Strikers was just a really good game. And, I know they brought it back to the Switch recently. Um,
Yeah, they brought it back to the Switch, and a lot of people didn't like it because they brought it in unfinished. They said there was a lot of stuff missing from it, and they added it on as DLC. They were saying, but it's like that game doesn't need DLC. Just put the game out, finish it, make it what it is, and then leave it alone. But yes, Mario Strikers was cool because even at that time I didn't even like soccer games, and let's not get ahead of ourselves. It didn't make me want to go out and buy FIFA. I've still never played a FIFA game. I never will. I am not a soccer fan, but Strikers did it right for me because it was like, oh, it was cartoony. It was Mario and all these guys, and it was fun because it's basically Smash Bros with a soccer ball. Um, and that was pretty cool. So yeah, I'm still not in a rush to go buy a FIFA X game or whatever the soccer games are called now. I know they switched their name to FCC. Nobody gives a crap. And if you like soccer games, no offense to you, I can't do it. I don't even watch baseball because baseball is boring. Um, okay, yeah, good pick. Yeah, strikers. Like I said last time, I've been playing that on my Steam Deck, so I have a whole emulator. My Steam Deck's an emulator monster, so yeah, been playing that. Definitely again, I love doing the fireball soccer kick with Mario, and smashing people up with it. All right, number 4, ironically, is Resident Evil 4 remake. All right, no wait, scratch that. That wasn't it. I took that off the list. It's Resident Evil 2 remake, number 4. Uh, no, Resident Evil 2. I played the original one. I have the original one here. And I love the original one. But let's get back in the '90s. The Capcom was goofy. The voice acting in the original Resident Evil was goofy. Translation from Japanese to American was always kind of weird back then. Still is to this day, kind of. But you know, Resident Evil being iconic for Mr. X, the Licker, Leon, Claire, just the storyline in general. The introduction to the G virus. Uh, but when remake came out, I was like so kind of like, ooh, they're gonna touch it. Ooh, they're gonna ruin it. But then when it came out, all of that doubt went away, and I loved that game. The storyline was perfect. The voice acting was insanely good. Mr. X was literally an anxiety attack every time he showed up. Like as soon as you heard them feet or you heard that music, you were just like, oh my god, where's this guy at? I can't. It was yeah. Thank God it never came out with VR mode for that because I don't know if I could have did it. But yeah, no, Resident Evil 2 remake. It did everything that the original did, but then turned it up to 11. The story was awesome. You got a little bit more fleshed out stories too with some things that they had done in the original. It's still you got. If I remember correctly, I haven't played it in a while. That they did go into a little bit more detail on the mercenaries that came in to get the G virus from William Birkin, and yeah, that was pretty cool to see, especially because everybody knows Hunk and they know the whole team. Um, Only thing missing from Resident Evil 2 remake was Tofu, and that was kind of disappointing. And if you know that reference, go back and check it. Tofu is iconic. So, uh, anyways, yeah, that was my number 4, Resident Evil 2 remake. Doesn't get better than that. Capcom definitely killing it on the Resident Evil remake on the Resident Evil franchise, and I haven't gotten a chance to play 4 yet, but I played the original, so I'm hoping that the 4 remake doesn't disappoint. I don't think it will, especially from everything that I heard. All right, moving on.
Yeah. So number 4 for me is Modern Warfare 3. You know, for me, this was the first Call of Duty I really ever played in my life. This is what got me hooked on the franchise. I may have started late, but I finished it strong. Uh, I've talked about this in our previous episode when we went over Call of Duty as a whole.
Yeah.
Um, so I won't say too much on it, other than the fact that the characters are amazing. Infinity Ward just knows what they're doing when it comes to COD. They listen to the fans. They know what the fans want. They like the hardcore fans like classic COD, and that's what Infinity Ward delivers.
Right. Yeah. No, I mean, really, not much that can be said about Call of Duty that people don't already know. Like you said, it's yeah. Especially the Modern Warfare series, just so damn good. The original and the reboot. Yeah, no, great pick. Let's see. Number 3 for me. Number 3 for me. So these are the ones that I changed on my list. I took one off and replaced it with another. So number 3 for me is a PS4 game. It hit really hard. I still have a hard time playing this game today. I finished it. I was satisfied with my ending, and I really had no desire to go back and play it after that. I was satisfied with where it was at. But for me, number 3 is Detroit Become Human. Uh, Detroit was one of the first games. Actually, it was the first game ever that literally made me cry. Like I played that game. I think I cried maybe 90% of it through, and people were like, "Why?" And I was like, "Cause that game hit and touched some things in on there that were just super emotional from the very beginning when you're Kara and you're playing and you're in there and you're with the abusive garbage dad and you're trying to protect the daughter and then from Marcus, Marcus being um, him being an android and them being people hating androids and them taking it out on him on them and Marcus being the symbol for for that and then of course you got Connor whom I literally named my son after Connor from this game. um, Connor being the upbeat cop who's there to do his job and he does it according to programming and all there, so he doesn't have much in the way of like emotions and stuff like that because he is ultimately an android. Um, and you get him paired up with Hank, aka Mr. Krabs. Literally, he's the voice of Mr. Krabs, and he's got like this thing against androids. He doesn't want Connor as his partner because Connor can't decipher between emotions and stuff like that. He's not able to feel what Hank can feel. And depending on the choices you make in that game, that can either go against you or that can go for you because you can make Connor adapt to Hank. So ultimately, in my playthrough, um, I had Hank and Connor ended up being best friends at the end and saw each other regularly. Um, Marcus was the symbol for hope that he had started out to be and got the androids their rights and stuff that they wanted. But the thing that disappointed me about my playthrough was the Kara story, where I was able to save the little girl, but ultimately I wasn't able to save Kara, and Kara was gunned down at the end, but the little girl survived. Um, so that was rough for me. But yeah, I it was just such an emotional game, and I think we need more games like that. Detroit definitely needs another a sequel because that game definitely hit on a whole different level.
Yeah, Detroit Become Human was honestly a phenomenal game, and I won't deny that. Uh, the gripe with Hank and Connor, the way there's multiple ways to work past it, and the reason why Hank has such a problem with androids is simply because of the fact that a human doctor was high off of an illegal substance and wouldn't operate on his son because of that. Couldn't
Hmm.
operate on his son because of that, so it was left in the hands of an android, and the android couldn't save his child. So unfortunately, Hank's child passed, and that's why Hank had such a gripe with androids.
Yeah, yeah. I think at one point in my storyline, Hank actually shot Connor in the face. My Connor, and I got a new android, a new version of Connor. Uh, it was during I think I was in a chase scene in a it was a chase scene in a bar. We were looking for someone, and uh, Connor. I think Connor let them shoot themselves on. I wasn't able to like get. We weren't able to question them, and they ended up shooting themselves. And Hank came out and got pissed and just blew Connor away. So that was a shocker for that. But yeah, no, definitely a great game. My number three for sure. So all right, moving on.
Yeah, number three for me is Spider-Man for the PS4. Uh, talked about this one as well already, so I won't go too much into detail. But it was just a really good game, good story. Insomniac, very good game developers. They're showing what they're made of. And
Yeah,
honestly, yeah, it was just a really great game.
it really was. I spent so much damn time hunting those backpacks. I never got to finish it, but I got right to about the introduction of the Sinister Six. But yeah, no, the voice acting, the gameplay, the swinging mechanics, all that stuff in there was just so good. But the only drawback of the game, and everybody has this complaint, is the Mary Jane stuff. Now Mary Jane is a character great. She's awesome. Love her. No, I'm not saying anything bad against her, but her levels suck. Doing the sneaking around with her is just so cumbersome and so boring. It's just like they could have given her a better role than that. I think they almost set her up for people to hate her. But it wasn't. Yeah, those levels suck, and I just hope they're not in two because I'll almost guarantee put it down right away because I can't do those levels again. Um, but yeah, no, Spider Man was really great. Looking forward to Spider-Man 2. Miles Morales, I haven't gotten into. I need to finish the game so I can, and I'm gonna finish it. I'm gonna replay and finish it just before Spider-Man 2 comes out so that I'm fresh. So yeah, good pick for your number three. Number two for me is the Last of Us. The Last of Us was a game that kind of opened my eyes to certain things. And it's weird that a video game that could do that. It gave me more of a respect for the LGBTQ community because you realize that anybody could love anyone. It doesn't matter who they are or whatever. And my saying for that is that if a straight person can get married and be miserable, then a gay person should be able to get married and be miserable too. So that's my saying for it. And most of my friends, I have a couple of friends that are gay. They always laugh when I say that, and they're like, they always, yeah, yeah, yeah. So, but yeah, no, The Last of Us two or Last of Us two, but The Last of Us one was great because it introduced you into these characters, Joel, Ellie, Tess, the hunters and all that stuff. And it was weird because it was like I didn't know much about it until after I played the game, but I didn't realize that the cordyceps virus or the cordyceps fungus is an actual thing, and it actually does what it does in real life. But it's to ants and stuff because for some reason they can't acclimate to our bodies, which is probably a good thing. But in the show on HBO actually addresses this is that with the temperatures rising on Earth, fungus has to adapt too. So it's increasing its temperature, and in the show, that's how it adapts to taking over people. Um, but it was kind of scary because it was like they gave you the scenario of something that could actually happen in real life, and then it wasn't your typical zombie game because these weren't zombies; they were being controlled by a fungus. Um, and I thought, man, that's some scary stuff. But then again, this was the second game that made me cry because I hadn't played it on PS3, so my introduction to it was on PS4, uh, and it was that first 30 minutes was just so heart wrenching. I just don't remember ever crying as hard as I did watching what no spoilers, but watching what happened and yeah, even though the game is super old, like if you haven't played it by now, come on, it's on PS5. Um, but yeah, watching that scene, I just like I paused it for a minute because I was just like, Jesus Christ, like is this what the game's gonna be the whole time? And sure enough, that's what the game was the whole time. It was like heart wrenching, gut wrenching the whole time from finding notes to seeing things, and it was also heartwarming in a few scenes too, like when you get to I think it was when you get to Boston and you see the giraffes for the first time with Ellie, and you see like the joy in that character's face and it was just like, damn, there is light in this world, and yeah. So for me, number two was The Last of Us, and it really started off what could be an ultimate franchise when it's done, because they're gonna do a part three. Let's not beat around the bush. There will be a part three. So
Yeah,
yeah, that was my number two.
yeah, and
Yeah.
that was a good choice. For me, number two is Black Ops Two. One of the greatest Call of Duty games their history. Um, Again, won't go too much into about this because we've already done it. I just This was the first Call of Duty game that I remember being able to play online multiplayer and zombies. The story mode was fantastic. The balancing on multiplayer was one of the greatest. Um, you know, this is where they introduced skill based matchmaking, and it was really good. It was just an
Yeah.
all around one of the greatest games of all time.
Yeah, the Call of Duty franchise fluctuates. Yeah, it definitely does. But then they had the zombie mode and all that, and it's just yeah. I mean, yeah, like the Black Ops series. I mean, honestly, the two best series in the Call of Duty franchise has to be Modern Warfare and then Black Ops because, and I was a big fan of Cold War, so yeah, no, I can see where yours would be that. So yeah, that's definitely a good pick. Um, so we're down to the final ones. So for me, it should come to no surprise to those who know me the why this is my number one. Um, it originally it was number one on the last one. There was a game before it that I had to take it off. But for me, number one is probably one of the most iconic games in video game history, just based on the characters alone. Also based off of like weapons in the game. Um, but my number one is Final Fantasy VII. Um, Final Fantasy VII and remake. We're going to put them in one. Uh, they Final Fantasy VII did something for me that I hadn't had played before. Now I had played Chrono Trigger before I played this, and Chrono Trigger was originally on my list, but I took it off because for me, Chrono Trigger is just always going to be there. It doesn't need to be on the list because it's always going to be right here. Um, but it was the first RPG that I finished was Final Fantasy VII. I had played Chrono Trigger and I was never able to get through it because it was so damn hard at the time. But Final Fantasy VII was the first one that I had finished. I liked the story. Cloud is the one of like the most iconic characters in gaming history. Sephiroth alongside of him, Aerith. I mean, all the whole roster in there belongs in video game history as iconic characters. And it you're this moody ex-soldier who thinks he's like thinks he's top shit, and you got this massive freaking sword that you don't understand how this guy holds it, and then later on you figure out why he can hold it because he's basically super juiced. Um, but then yeah, the storyline was perfect. They had some iconic moments there um, where some things happen and some characters die, and it's just I don't want to go to spoilers because there is the remake. It hasn't been out that long, and it's yeah, but yeah, Final Fantasy VII for me is my number one. It always will be. Uh, I have a lot of Final Fantasy VII stuff here. I own every game in the freaking franchise. I own the original Seven. I own the remake. I own the movie. I own Dirge of Cerberus, Crisis Core, you name it, Seven. I have it. The only thing I don't have is the mobile games, and there's no way to get those. I think I might actually have them on my Steam Deck. I'm not sure. But yeah, that's my number one. So go ahead and fire off your number one, Zio.
So for me, my number one pick is and always will be Assassin's Creed 2. Assassin's Creed 2 was the first one I started with. And the Ezio story as a whole is just one of the best storytellings from Ubisoft from any of their games really, which is why it's one of their cash cows for the modern era is Assassin's Creed because everyone it was just a game that everyone fell in love with.
Yeah, yeah. It was the whole Ezio thing that brought, I think, that brought it to Assassin's Creed to its glory. Ezio, it was just it was different from, because with Altair was serious and he was about, you know, the whole Brotherhood thing, and he was the first assassin that we were introduced to. Ezio was the comedic, more could be serious, but he was more like it was like the Tony Stark of the Assassins Brotherhood. Um, and then yeah, he then he got his whole spin-offs thing, and yeah, um, Assassin's Creed 2 was definitely one of the greats. 3 is still my favorite, but uh, it was definitely a good game. So yeah, Ezio, he was a. I remember that was funny. Um, there was one joke he told in that game that was funny, but yeah, no, Assassin's Creed 2 definitely a good game. I'm definitely not surprised to be your number one. But yeah, all right, everyone. So that was our top 10 list. Let us know what you think about them. Let us know what games on our list that you like. Let us know where you think our rankings were. I'm sure you will, anyways. Um, and then don't forget to put your game list down in the comments. Give us your top 10, and then whoever has the best list, we're gonna pick a winner, and then we're gonna send you a PS2. Oh yeah, I had two more quick honorable mentions. Honorable for that I wanted to put on there and I forgot. One was the Order 1886 for PS4. That game was super underrated. Come on, you guys got to go back, play that game, give it some love because we need a sequel out there. Radiant Dawn is no longer part of. I don't think they ever were part of Sony, but they're no longer. I think they're now. I think they got bought up by either Embracer or no. They got bought up by Meta or something. They got bought by someone, so we're not going to get a sequel from them. But that game definitely needs a sequel. It left us in a cliffhanger, and that game was really good. It wasn't just a tech demo. I recommend you go back and play it and appreciate it now. And then the other one was actually that's it. Just do Order 1886. I don't give a the other one. So, anyways, that's it for today. I hope you guys did like our list. You guys know where to find us. We are at YouTube at the Fatman Gaming. You can't miss it. Our now page logo is there, so you can see it. Also, we are on Spotify under the same moniker. It is the Fatman Gaming. Spotify is actually doing pretty good, so if you can go over there, give us a listen, rate and leave a comment over there. That'd be awesome. We'd appreciate it. Help us get this thing going. We're hoping to make it, help it to get it better. That way we can upgrade and make everything more grander for you guys. So that you guys will stick around. So yeah, there you go. We're at YouTube at the Fatman Gaming, and then Zio, you can find him. Where at Zio?
On all social media is Zio underscore Philip, and for YouTube it's just Zio Keys.
All right. All right, cool. And yeah, if you guys want to add us on Facebook or not Facebook, PlayStation for maybe try to maybe play some games with us if we're online or Xbox. My player ID on both of those, or actually on PlayStation, it's Trake12 TRAKE 12, and then on Xbox it's Lewis003, so LEWIS 003. Send me a friend request over there, and we can play some games together. I'm gonna do a lot more gaming because I have to because I'm trying to keep this thing going, so gotta have stuff to talk about. All right, so there you guys have it. You know where to find us, and then we'll catch you guys out on the next one.